I reached out to a lot of people, so hopefully,
Okay. Hey, but like I said right now, we're here. Like, how was your week?
it was good. How about you?
Like I said, it was, busy, running
Mm-hmm.
around. That weather, going out there early in the morning, start feeling that weather drop. Here it is right now. We're going into fall season. So a lot of times now, you know how you're so used to going out the house without a jacket, or without a sports coat. Now it's a situation like, man, like you got to know what that temperature going to be when you go outside. Because
Right.
if you go outside, you're not prepared. Guess what? That's what's going to happen with our change of our body. Getting colds and all that other good stuff. So you just got to make sure that you're prepared. When you get your
Yeah,
week started.
totally agree. It feels like there was no intermission between summer and fall. Just like, boop, my last day, I'm out.
And we know it's coming. When you sit back and you look at it, especially it all depends upon where everybody's at this present time. Like right now is looking at it's storm season, hurricane season. And when
Hmm.
you sit back and you look at it, what's going on now? As far as they got the hurricane, what, Ian? And even with that being said, it doesn't hit the coast. It's like,
Right.
right now tearing up Florida. So, that's why we got to be mindful and prayerful because once again, there's a lot of people when the hurricane season hit, what happened? If a hurricane hit your Pacific area, you're going to be without what? Water, power, and everything else. And people like, a lot of times we're not prepared for the unexpected.
No, never. And we are also, we believe that the structures that we live in will protect us, right? Because we believe in the architecture or whatever, whoever designed it. And when you look at some of these pictures, I mean, it makes houses seem like they were just, cardboard boxes, the way they can, weather can destroy your very living situation, right? So,
But when you look at that with the wind chill factor and the rain, you'd be surprised. Like, even when they had Hurricane Hugo, that's like many, many years ago. I was away when that happened, but it's like it's shattered. These hurricane, right now is in hurricane evacuation and safety evacuation. We got to be aware and know how to handle ourselves. And not only that, teach our family, just in case if I'm not there, if you out of town or you at work, like what to do when these type of situations happen. Because guess what? It's going to happen. So are people really talking about it or being prepared for the unexpected?
right. Yeah, they're not prepared. They're just not prepared. And that's like a huge, like, whole, like, there's courses on, like National Preparedness Month and that kind of thing. There's things about being prepared for these kinds of disasters. And people often want to just stay sort of like shelter in place, partly because we often feel safer at home, you know?
Like
Also, most of our insurance, particularly on houses or even your apartment, don't necessarily cover disaster, natural disasters. So then you need to inquire whether or not you have the appropriate coverage for your dwelling. It's very, very difficult.
but sit back and think about it. You know what it is? It's not that people wouldn't leave. They so comfortable in a element. It's like it doesn't matter right now as they say danger, danger. You got some folks still won't leave because once again, they feel like, here it is. I'm a believer. I trust
Right.
in God. I trust in Allah. What's going to happen is going to happen. But what we was all taught, God help those that help themselves. If you
Absolutely.
if you know right now is guess what you in the way of a train, a nonstop train, a speeding train. What you supposed to do? Get out the way.
Absolutely.
You can't say, "Well, God going to protect me." Yeah, God going to protect you. Use your common sense. Look, danger. Get out the way.
Exactly. But common sense is not that common. And we often follow, we're like, we follow the leader, whoever the leader is, and we sort of stay there. I actually was looking at some footage where 4 kids or 3 or 4 kids actually went out in the ocean and was like surfing and or doing all sorts of like water tricks during a hurricane, like in Florida. I'm like, are we serious? So then our, emergency management team would need to go out and rescue people that are making dumb decisions. Like what?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Hey, but anyway, like I said right now, folks, listen, thank you for joining the Predator and the Prey podcast. You got myself and you got the lovely Dr. Elisa.
Yeah.
Welcome, y'all. Thank y'all for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I hope everyone is joining. We actually did a special outreach to make sure we get you guys to tune in because we always have really good information. And we love for you to join the conversation. It really makes a difference. It's funny, like we're talking about this, and it's something that I wanted to read to you because you and I talk a lot about how people sort of utilize their time and make decisions, and how prepared are we, and what are we doing with our life, and how do we manage conflict. It's so many things that we discuss. And I want to read something I thought was really interesting. It says if 8 hours, we get 8 hours of sleep, right? 8 hours of work, let's just say that leaves us only 56 hours per week for self care, physical health, relationships, and everything else. If you put it in that context, don't you think we really should be considering how we manage those 56 hours?
Right.
Such a little bit of time in a week, right? To
And you
do all the things that you need to do outside of work and sleep.
And you sit back and you think about it. That's very, very interesting because even right now, that was never like basically right now was brought to my attention. If you break it down like that, a lot of times people might think 56 hours is a lot, but in actuality, it's a lot if you're at work because it's 40 hours. It's really 7 days. It's really 5 days at 8 hours and another I'm saying 16 hours at overtime. And you're
Mhm.
right, 56 hours that mean from driving back and forth to work.
Yeah,
That
I
mean
didn't
from
factor that in.
yeah, driving back and forth to work. That mean from showering, you know what I'm saying? Self-care, brushing your teeth, washing your behind and getting ready from work, ironing your clothes, cooking, working out. You going to the bathroom. You got all that stuff to intervene in that 56 hours. So that means that's the only time you have. And if you don't manage it wisely, then you accomplish nothing.
Absolutely nothing. And I think it's always good to put things in sort of a numerical sort of understanding because it provides context for it, right? Like, listen, you only really have 56 hours. And when you factor in all of the human needs that we have, and you didn't even mention children and prepping them for school
You're right.
and everything else that goes into that, you're now down to about six, you know, that you really have for yourself. And so you really need to be very intentional about how you use your hours and your time because one day you will no longer have time for nothing.
The time have run out. Hey,
Yes.
folks, listen, make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure you copy, share, support. While we online right now, I'm asking each and every one of y'all that's out there, copy it and share it with somebody so they can join us live as me and Dr. Elisa talking about, saying this week, saying topics.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much going on in the world, Glaze. Like it's almost like where do you start? And it's funny because the podcast isn't designed to sort of lift all the negative that's going on in the world. It's to raise awareness around many things that are associated with our mental, physical, emotional, and social well-being. But when you look at the news and when you see what's going on, you're like, we need to find the positive in things, right? Like it is difficult for people to kind of cope with what life is offering. It's very expensive now. It feels like you get nothing for your dollar anymore. I don't know if you've noticed it, but it feels like if you have $100, if you go out with $100 and you have a car or you need to pay, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's like the money doesn't go anywhere anymore. It's almost scary. It has no value. The U.S. dollar feels like it has no value anymore.
You're 100% right. And I agree with that because once again, like you say, whereas you go shopping,
Right.
you go to Walmart, you go to, say anywhere, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to have absolutely nothing. So to me, you're right. Like I say, to me, if you take $100 and you try to go buy, like you say, a loaf of bread, you go try to buy, what I'm saying, some, meat product or dairy product or whatever product, look what's going to happen. And
Yeah.
besides that, even right now, like you say, somebody may mention, we didn't mention nothing about worship, even if you got to pay tithes.
Oh, thank you so much. That's why I love our viewers. I love them so much because you know what I say, join the conversation. Glaze and I appreciate that. You're right on time. Without that, we really need to put that way up there, right? On the to-do list,
Yeah.
spirituality, right? Like your commitment to the higher power, because that gets your day started, that gets your week started, that keeps you coping well with this very difficult thing we call life.
Yeah. And you're 100% right. So,
Yeah.
like I said, without further ado, let's get into the program, lady.
Yeah, well, again, like I said, we hate to bring bad news, but it's something that is being covered in the popular media and pop culture, and someone who was, again, near and dear to the hip hop community, and that is the one and only Coolio. For those of you who don't know, Coolio passed away at the age of 59. I think on Wednesday, it's yesterday. He died yesterday afternoon. He's a 90s rapper who, from all accounts, was well known for his hit Gangster Paradise and Fantastic Voyage. And so, it was really untimely, unexpected. Apparently, from what I'm hearing, allegedly, he was at a friend's house and went to the restroom and never came out. Speaking about time, right? And his friend manager went to check up on him, and he was pronounced dead yesterday afternoon. So may he rest in peace. And from what I hear, it could have been cardiac arrest. We'll never know for sure. But whatever the cause is, it's very untimely. He's very young. And I was reading in respect to, how, the age expectancy in our society, which is close to 80. 59 is relatively young. And we're seeing this trend for Black men in America, and it's very, very scary. But I think there was some data that I was looking at from 2020 on. We've lost about 30 to 40 notable individuals under 55.
Wow.
And I mean, we can start with the DMX, um, you know, there's just so many. I can't even all the DJs, many of the DJs. Um, it's just a list. It goes on and on, and we really need to start looking at this as a national health crisis. What is going on? What is going on with the health of Black men that they can't seem to get to that 70, 80 mark? What is
And,
going on?
and you know what? You brought up a very interesting point. And like literally, I in daily contact, first of all, like I'm one, I go see my doctor. I don't care. I want to know guys, like if something is wrong, I got medical, I got dental, I got vision, I got health care. And right now, is like I go see my doctor if something is wrong. But besides that, I'm blessed to have a relationship with Panoxol and the doctors that's behind Panoxol. And me and Dr. Michael Matthew, we done spoke about several things from, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high weight, high sugar, diabetes. We done talk about all that. Even right now, what men don't want to talk about, you know what I'm saying, erectile dysfunction. We talk about everything from A to Z. And a lot of times right now is you have to be realistic. Something that he say, which we don't quite understand, is this: we think we have time. And something that he's saying, I was scratching my head about. You thinking right now like Coolio, 59 years old. That's real young. But once again, he say that really our bodies start breaking down at 35. At 35. So when you sit back and think about 35, you still think you got time. Say, nah. We start feeling ache and pain and arthritis and everything else. So it's a lot of things, like something that I see that you take pride in, as far as right now, what you put in your body. As far as I listen to you and I got to go work out. You watch what you eat and you do the things that you need to do to preserve yourself, because your body is your temple. When you look good, you feel good, you do good. So if you meditate and you yoga and you run and you jog and ride and bike, whatever you're doing to maintain that present. Because once again, like I told you, here it is, you're the good looking woman, so you take care of yourself. So you want to make sure when you look in that mirror, like, okay, mama still got it. And that's what we as men got to keep doing right now, is making sure, hold up, wait a minute here, I'm gaining too much weight. My belly's sticking out this way, or you know what, I can't walk up a flight of stairs. Those are signs that we need to get back to the basic.
It's interesting you would say that feeling like shortness of breath and feeling like your stomach is bloated and those kinds of things. Those are telltale signs that something isn't going right in your body, and it's time to seek some kind of professional intervention. I also think that men in general, race aside, is that men don't like doctors.
Yeah.
They don't often like to go. They don't like sort of sometimes what they feel is intrusive, right? You mentioned erectile dysfunction and, those kinds of prostate exams and things like that. It requires a really close contact and sometimes touching and that kind of thing. So we really need to become much more comfortable with our bodies and open to the conversations. And, the other thing is, and I think you say this a lot, is is so much beauty in having a healthy partner, someone who loves you, someone who cares about you, someone who's going to be there for you, because that person will also be concerned about what you're eating, how you're, maintaining a good mental and emotional health. What are you, how much exercise are you getting? Like, that person will be there for, and you both can support one another on this journey toward good health. So I just want Black men to sort of pay attention, like you said, particularly when they turn 35. I would say as early as 5. Moms should be very careful about what they're feeding their children. But they should pay attention to their health, because if you see that your eyes are blurry or bloodshot or all sorts of things, it could mean that your blood pressure is high. If you're having issues with urination and that kind of thing, it being your kidneys. There's so many things that are going on, but there's actually so much prevention out there and help that you can get for so many preventable diseases. So don't be afraid of your doctor. Try to get some health insurance. That's another thing that having a partnership helps with, because the cost of healthcare is beyond anyone's imagination anymore, right? You know
You're
what
right.
that
It
costs.
is.
It's very expensive, and God forbid you have a serious issue that you need to have treatment for. So yeah, we can't go on dying before 50, and then factor in homicide. You have a whole nother issue.
You know what? And speaking of homicide, even right now we've been covering the rapper PNB Rock. Right now, is from my understanding, they arrested, 3 people that they allegedly was involved with his murder. And from my
Mm,
understanding, from like different bloggers, different news that's out, was the trigger man was a 17-year-old boy. So basically, right now, from my understanding, him and his father was sitting in the parking lot, at Roscoe, on Waffle and Chicken. And basically, they saw as, the rapper and his girl got out of the Mercedes, G-Wagon, and went in. And automatically, they looking at him like, wow, who this guy? Right now, fancy truck, right now, all that jewelry. So automatically they waited. And as he went in there, I guess to get situated or whatever, the son went in there and stuck him up and shot and robbed, the late rapper, and his father was like the getaway driver. So when you sit back and think about it, that crime happened on September 12th. And everybody was talking about, well, you know what? They shouldn't have dropped their location. The girl was taking a picture of the food, and they try to say that she had something to do with it. And you listen to everything that was out there. And even, I did a piece about that. And I was saying to myself, like, man, where was his security? And you know what? It don't make it right. Right now, you live in a land of the free. So you should be able to go anywhere you want to go. You should be able to do what you want to do, as long as you do it in the right way. But look what happened. So here it is to me, with that being said or whatever, for a father to be there. And right now is like egg his son on, because once again, if that's my son or that's my daughter or that's my niece, my nephew, or whatever, no way in the world I want them to get caught up into that, understanding what is the consequences. So to me, like, what are we doing? What are we thinking? As a father, as an adult, as an OG, you're supposed to live by example. And to me, even when I was out there in that lost world and I did everything I did, I would never have my nothing or nobody, no kids around me. I wouldn't want nobody to know what I'm doing because it's somewhat embarrassing. But when you sit back and you look at it, right now, man, like it is a deep, sad situation. From my understanding, they arrested and charged the son with actually pulling the trigger. They arrested the guy. That right now is like, I think yesterday in Vegas, and right now is they arrested the stepmoms for accessory after the fact. But when you look at it, you got 4 lives that's going to be destroyed. For what? For what? Jury? Come on, man. We got to be better than that. We definitely have to be better than that.
The entire story is heartbreaking. Like it's just heartbreaking when you think about, you have a man, an adult man, who may be, all of this is alleged, to have been a part of an organized setup for someone that had a child, right, by this man. Like it's all beyond belief, and it speaks to a serious pain or a lack of humanity and love for one another. Like there's something really deep seated and wicked about the entire story. What is going on? And then when you see our young people lacking respect for our elders, as was mentioned in a particular comment about other people in the more senior community, those who are slightly older than younger people, it's these kinds of examples that make you say, maybe that's why, older men aren't setting a good example. Like, to even have anything to do with that. Like you said, you would not have anything to do with anything that was negative with your children. You don't want to see your children go down that terrible road. Like you said, throw that brick at the prison system.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? This is hard to even fathom. And so I hope that this is all alleged. I hope that we get all the facts. But if this is in true the case, we absolutely need to reject the older man, honestly, like his role and what he played in it, because that's unacceptable. And we can't let that become the norm in our community. We cannot. What was his father? Some kind of gangbanger or something? What was he trying to prove? I wonder what his IQ is. Like, is his cognitive ability there? Maybe there's something about him that he didn't quite see himself as an adult, or he's not functioning as an adult to make adult decisions, although his chronological age may say 40 or 50. Maybe the man is only functioning at, 7 years old. We have no idea.
We don't have no idea, but when you look at it and you sit back and you think about it and you're trying to figure it out, it don't add up. It don't make sense. And right now is, guess what? Like, hurt people hurt other people. So right now, even being in that, living in that area, and you feel that we don't have everything that we need, and we watch somebody else, like, right now it's coming our area, or we watch some of these stars come in our area, and we feeling, oh man, it's a payday. We looking at get rich, die trying, something that, wait a minute, man. If I get this jewelry, what is that jewelry worth? And sometimes I want the audience to understand this. And I want y'all to share this. Right now is, guess what? Who to say whatever that man had on his neck, his wrist, you know what I'm saying? Whether the watches, the jewelry, the ring, all that stuff. Who to say that stuff was even real? Because once again, I'm just saying in general, who to say that stuff was real? So once again, because people are getting smart, and people are like right now is wearing costume jewelry. So a lot of times people don't even understand, like, you going after something, you think you getting a great payday. You thinking these guys got a couple $100,000 worth of jewelry on their neck, on their wrist, on their finger. And it might be costume. It might be fake jewelry because once again, they already know what they're up against. But once again, you going after full gold. So you just took that man's life and you wound up with nothing. But once again, like I say, folks, listen, think, man. I done been in that type of predicament. You know, when I was young, dumb, out in the street, I robbed a guy at 17 years old, a grown man. He was walking around in my neighborhood with all the jewelry on, not no 100,000, probably back then a couple of thousand. So right now was I caught him in Cyprus, walking around my neighborhood. I pulled out my 25 and went after him, and I robbed him. He like blood clot, man. You must be don't know who I am. I'm 17. He about 30 years old. I didn't care who you was. I wanted what you have. I'm thinking about I'm going to shop. I'm going to Delancey Street. I'm going to get fly. You know, but the long story short, when I got it, I'm thinking I got a couple $1,000 worth of jewelry. But you know what I had? I had nothing but full gold. Everything he had was fake. That man could have told me, man, listen, you waste your time. This stuff is fake. He didn't tell me that. But that's what I'm just trying to tell you, folks. Listen, man, everything that shines is not glitter. You got to understand what you're up against. And you got to ask yourself, is your freedom, is your life worth that full gold?
Yeah, I mean, it's so for me, it's not even the question of whether it was real or fake. And I get what you're saying, the fact that someone would even lose their life for something that isn't, because remember, a price tag is put on a particular item in our society by the dominant society. So we don't necessarily care. It's the mindset to me that's fake. That's not real, that isn't authentic, that isn't developed. The mindset that you think you can walk up to someone and take something from them to meet a need that or deficit in your personal life, as opposed to looking at other ways to address your financial difficulties or your emotional difficulties or your mental health difficulties. Like there's other ways. I think the good thing is that our society, we don't go around every day hurting one another, but when we do, it's devastating. And we need to figure out how we can come to terms with this basic thing called love. Like I love my brother, I love my sister too much to hurt them. But you have a 17-year-old being mentored by, I'm just going to call him 40 years old, I don't know, but someone older, right? And the entire crew is involved in the plot to hurt this young man. So who was guiding anyone there? Who was the role model? Who was providing guidance, instruction, leadership there?
You're right. Listen, mass society, peace to the garden earth. We are prisoners in a materialistic world order. Our wrong are coming back to bite us in the ass in the worst way. Our knowledge itself is very necessary and very improper. You know, another guy came along with caught up with society peer pressure is a mother.
Hmm. You're right. You're right. I just wonder, and this is for you, Islamova. That's what I'm gonna say. Islamov. Okay, Azu. I would say, what about the older man? Who was his? Why did he feel peer pressure? Who was his peers? That what other 40-year-olds were going around saying, "Yeah, let's sort of get the drop on this young man." Like, who does that? Do you know people like that, Glaze, in your age group? Do you have men like that?
You know what? Like, put it like this, right? Put it like this. I don't place myself in that type of predicament to be around people, knuckleheads. Like the people that I'm around, and based upon the conversation that is being had, it's not about that. And even if it was about that, I know I will remove myself away from that because I already know where that's going to go. It's not going nowhere. You know, and to me, like I said right now, a lot of times right now is people are, I don't care how old you are, you know, right now is you can live to be 1,000 years old. It will always be some type of form of immaturity. But in the same token, we got to get away from that Toys R Us mentality and go back to the basic principle. When I was a child, I thought as a child, I act as a child. But when I became a man, I put away all childish things.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah. The childish piece, I get. Crime is another thing, right? So crime, like you said, has nothing to do with a chronological age. It has to do with a mindset. So for this older man to make this decision that, like you said, is going to cost everyone a very long time in jail, and the only people that benefit, someone has lost their child, has lost a father, has lost, right, a nephew, an uncle, whatever. Um, he will never get his life back, and his child will never have the father to raise him or her. But how can we rationalize or understand how a grown man can think that it's okay to get to be a part of a group that wants to find themselves in this penal system, and we're trying to do everything to avoid that in our community. That's the last place we need to be. We die before 50, right? Pretty much. We have 2 million black men, black and brown men in prison. Like, is this what we want? Like you said, what do we want in our society, our communities? What do we really want?
You're 100% right. I'm gonna read something by our sister Renee Mitchell. These
Hey,
people,
Renee, how are you?
these people don't care anymore, and a lot of people are running around with serious mental illness, and it's not being addressed. Some people don't think they have a problem; that this is the norm.
Mm. So I feel like what I hear Renee saying is that they don't think they have a problem. Do they even understand that it's a problem? That's what we were saying earlier. Is it a cognitive issue? Is it a developmental disability? Is it's like sometimes we see people, they look okay on the outside, but the brain isn't fully developed for whatever reason. Maybe this is the cohort of individuals that fit within that, you know, framework.
You know what? Like I say, rest in peace to that young man. May his soul rest in peace and spirit
So
be
sad.
lifted. And right now, where it's like I say, to me, it's ironic. Even right now, where it's 50 Cent basically is doing a documentary with
Mm.
the guy from TMZ, Van Latin. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So they doing a documentary in regards to all the rappers that been killed within the last few years. And to
Mm,
me, like, I guess the program gonna be on A&E, and it's supposed to be dropping in November. But it's kind of ironic, like right now, is like, look what's going on, look what's continuing to go on, from, like you say, the Nipsey Hustle to the Pop Smoke to the Mo, I'm saying, 3, to PNB, like what's going on? When is this going to stop? And right now, where it's like, to me, hurt people going to continue to hurt other people, and what we have to do is learn. I can't love you if I don't love me. I can't love my brother, my sister, if I don't love me. So the different, we have to go back to the basic principle. We have to get the help. And sometime, in order to get help, you got to know you need help. You got to know I have a problem. If I don't say, or I don't, like, I got a problem, guess what? I'm never going to get help.
no,
I'm
no,
never going to get
not.
help. I'm going to continue to be that sick individual with problems. I was that person, and I battle with it daily. But guess what? From medication, from, like, saying, therapy, from all that. And right now, for me, rationalizing, wait a minute, right from wrong. If you continue to live this way, or you continue to do these things, or you continue to think you can do these things and get away with it, that you above the law, that you the law, you won't stand a chance in hell. You're
Mm.
gonna die of an early age of a violent death, or you going under the jail for the rest of your life. The choice
I
is yours.
I know we have a lot to cover, but I mean, you just said something that just like made the hair on the back of my head stand up. The normalization of this kind of behavior, like, is it really normalized? I mean, the fact that 50, and shout out to 50 and Lathan for putting this project together, but I know it's about raising awareness and trying to really understand the complexities of these kinds of situations. But all of these people that we're talking about, they're connected to people who love them, their parents, children, family members. Like, we can't be normalizing homicide of one another, right? I mean, that's That's not the goal at all. Like, who is speaking out against this kind of behavior? When these people go to jail, how are they dealt with? Like back in the days when people went to jail, say for doing something derogatory to young girls, right? Or hurting a woman in the community. How was those people handled in the penal system?
They got beat down. They got tortured.
That's what I remember. Someone, yeah, that's what I hear. It wasn't like tolerated, right? There was an
What was it?
example made. Now you go around killing basically children. Pop Smoke was a child at the end of the day, right? He was under 22 or so. Like, these are young people. We're killing, and 5 people went in there and killed him. You know, I can't wrap my head around it, and I pray that we're not normalizing this kind of behavior. That this doesn't become. It feels like it's almost happening so frequently that we're becoming numb to it as a society. Like, yeah, this one died, and yeah, that one died, and it's pretty much rest in peace, and that's it. We need to continue to have these conversations so we can get to the bottom of this, and so that we can see Black men live a little longer and stay on this earth a little longer. Their mother didn't go through 9 months of labor, 9 months of conception, right? And carrying a child, and then probably 20 hours of labor to have a child die prematurely. Like, that's really sad. But
It is.
okay. Well,
What would our next topic be, young lady?
okay. Well, speaking of, not just criminal behavior, but sometimes morality, right? And where do we stand in terms of morality? And this story, and again, it's because it has been in all the popular news, and because it has to do with Black love, and the hashtag is always like Black love, and being a therapist and someone who has spoken to many young ladies and men, everybody wants a healthy relationship, and sometimes we'll do anything we can to get it, and it doesn't always work out well. So you have Nia Long's fiance, child's father, the coach for the Boston Celtics. They announced on Thursday, I think his name is Udoka, was suspended.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Udoka. I don't know if the U is silent, but was suspended for the entire 22-23 season for violations of team policies. And I would assume those policies are associated with some kind of morality clauses. Boston didn't detail the violation, but a person familiar with the situation, and this is according to USA Today, and this goes back few days ago, engaged in an inappropriate consensual relationship with the female staffer. And pretty much his financial situation is being, impacted by this. Definitely his personal relationship with his child's mother, I'm sure, is impacted, because trust is key in all relationships, whether they're, interpersonal or personal. And so this is a really sad story. My opinion about it is that I should hope that they can work through this and get through this with the appropriate support of loving and caring individuals, but certainly start with, an objective person like a therapist, someone who can help them think about why it's important to kind of understand where everyone is coming from, and that we are just, human, and we make mistakes at times. But this is a tough one because his livelihood is now being, impacted by this. And it was a public spectacle. But I just want to encourage Nia Long, shout outs to her, to keep her head up. She isn't the first woman to go through this situation, will not be the last, nor man. And hopefully he can find healing in his decisions and move past this. But I don't want to see another family split up or broken up, particularly a Black child who really needs their father for something like this.
You know what? Like, even with that whole situation, let he or she without sin cast the first stone, not knowing everything is, like I told you, whatever man and woman do, like I said right now, is that's consensual, but still, like you say, when you're committed,
Yeah.
you're in a committed relationship, you're married, you know, it's just different. You engage. It's like it's different things that you as an individual got to hold yourself accountable. It's like sometimes I think in life or whatever, success, go to our heads. Like
Mm,
sometime right now when you made it to you get that spotlight. So you get that 15-minute of fame. Like this man in his rookie year took a team,
mm.
to the NBA final. So right now where it's like, all eyes on me. It's like Deion Sanders say, "Hey, give me my theme song." So it's like right now he been living that. Give me my theme song because he's the man around there. He about to bring the Boston Celtic. He came 2 games away from bringing the Boston Celtic NBA World Champion. And what
Wow.
happened? So in between that, like his woman, his fiance of 10 years, and you sit back and think about it, like what part of the game is that? Like who the heck been engaged for 10 years? Like, wait a minute here. Like, what, it's a lot of stuff go deep in the original surface. But being a man, being a head coach out there, got a little clout, and you take your, pen and you want to dip in the other ink that's already in committed
Did you?
marriage,
I
relationship,
can't
or
with you.
whatever.
Did you
But,
say
but,
dip
but
it in other?
it just like all that stuff when you sit back and you think about it, like right now is, and then what they're saying is a lot of that stuff going deeper than what it is. So once again, it's a saying they don't even think he's going to coach again in the NBA. I don't know, but like to me right now is like hopefully whatever the situation may be, you don't wish nothing bad on anybody, but hopefully he able to work it out and get his life together because before he can do anything, he got to get himself together. Whether he got a addiction to sex and he was like to go around like saying like hitting any and everything that he can. I don't know, but in the same token, when you in the limelight, when you in that, when you get that spotlight on you, you have to be beyond approach. Your integrity has to be intact because once again, all eyes on me. People gonna watch you. Watch those that are watching you. Watch those that you think ain't watching but are watching. These days in time, how I heard he got caught out there was everybody got rings. Everybody got rings. So once again, from my understanding, he was at the house leaving messages on the ring. Like, like what are you doing? What are you doing?
Trying to say he should have used a little more discretion.
First of all, what I'm trying to say, he shouldn't be in that predicament in the first
Right,
place.
right. That's the key. That's the key. But let's keep it like pretty much. Let's go back to the data. We know that infidelity and cheating is more common than we want to believe, right? 70% of marriages end in divorce for a variety of reasons. Um, and sometimes infidelity and stepping out on your partner is the cause, because when not necessarily because of that, but because sometimes it produces a child or it produces a disease or the trust is gone, you can't get past that. um, the embarrassment, right? The family embarrassment. So there's a lot that goes into it. Maintaining relationships in general are difficult for a variety of reasons. And so it's not easy. Maybe we need to think about, and question the whole ideal in America or Western civilization around monogamy. And what does that really mean in our society, which is a whole different conversation. You did talk about, her decision to not really move forward with a legal marriage. Oftentimes, people make those decisions for financial reasons because we know marriage is a legal document and it carries a lot of weight in a lot of spaces. So it's a very, very serious contract that needs to be taken serious. So her decision not to do that could be based on a number of reasons. But it seems like what's most important is that they did have some level of connection and love and care and support for one another. And that in itself is very hard to find in our society, where you have someone who loves you, who cares about you, and who supports you and is there for you. And to have that person step out in a way that damages that trust, that can be devastating with or without a paper. So I wish them well. I pray that they can get through this. I pray that he, like you said, matures, right? Where that thinking like a child is not healthy in this adult situation that he's in. This situation that was really feeding his family well. He had a beautiful partner, and to throw that all away for really nothing because people have broken up for less. um, it's very disappointing and sad. And I hope that this one mistake, of which we know as John Q. Public, doesn't, keep him from still prospering in life, because we know it's very difficult to survive. So beyond the relationship, he made a mistake. But if no one was hurt physically, there's a lot of repair emotionally and mentally that needs to be done. Then I think we should all give him the same grace that we would want to give ourselves, and pray for the family to come together in this difficult time, for better and for worse.
But can I ask you a question? Like right now is okay. I understand. Like, do long distance relationship work? Because right now is he's in Boston, she's in New York. Right now is sometime when you get that desire, you get that urge. But then again, like I say, man, I don't know what the heck he's on because he's in his mid 40. So once again, it's like, what? Like the fact that long distance relationship. So being that she wasn't there, he feel like the needs that, hey, look, I gotta go with what's here for me immediately. So it's a lot of that stuff go deep in the original surface, or even if she was there, or it's like, because once again, everybody got different sexual appetite. The difference right now is some people, some men healthy, some men appetite is more healthy than a woman, or vice versa. Right now, it's very rare when you're gonna find both mate. Basically, right now, oh man, whenever you want to go, let's go. So,
well, so now they have these pills that men can take, so that sometimes they're ready to go a lot more often than the natural. The woman is ready to go.
But once again, when you sit back and you think about different things and you're trying to understand different things, and you wonder why do people cheat? Right now, because the husband don't feel like it, so the wife, man, I'm going to find me a boy toy. So right now is, the why I'm going to, see, I'm trying to understand it, like, because once again, it's a problem. So, every guy's looking at it.
Is sexual? Do you think cheating is only for sexual reasons?
I'm just saying, it's like, because you feel you're not getting enough.
Of something. It may not be sex. It could be anything.
But come on.
Right.
You feel like you feel like you're not getting enough, man. You feel like you got to get enough. I got to read this, man. My man, Moses Cotton, how you doing? Again, Minister Gibbs, you bring to light things which have caused many a man to fall. However, when we stay true to our first estate, which is God Almighty, we seem to be victorious with God, which is true, Moses. Hey, hopefully your wife is all right. Haven't heard from you in a while. Let's catch up, hopefully over the weekend. But right now is so many different things that's out there. And when you look at it, like, why? And what we have to do is, like, right now is like take the excuses away. Because
have you ever been cheated on?
Huh?
Have you ever been cheated on?
Yes.
What do you think was the reason?
The difference right now is my situation is totally different. Because
I think every situation is totally different.
My situation is totally different, because right now is, like when I was younger, out there being in the street, you're more in love with the street than you're in love with your wife or your girlfriend at the time. And I spent more time with my guys than I spent with my girl. So automatically, when you get locked up, you want them to be loyal and dedicated. But you wasn't loyal and dedicated. But sometimes it's a double standards, that being a hypocrite. Right now is you can do this, but they can't do that. Nah, it don't work that way. So once again, you just got to accept reality for what it is, because if I was fully committed and did what I was supposed to do, then chances are karma wouldn't slap me in the face. But if I'm not doing what is right and honoring them and respecting them and treating like the queens that they are, then I wouldn't have the problem that I had. So to me, I'm just holding myself accountable because sometime right now is, guess what? You know what? Hey, what they say, a woman need loving just like you. Don't think that a woman need love just like you do. Don't fool yourself and thinking that she don't.
Oh,
She can
okay.
play around just like you do. That's reality. And a lot of times right now is we got to stop being hypocrite. I just think I'm speaking from a man's standpoint. I can't speak from a woman's standpoint. So when you able to not being a hypocrite and being true to who and what you are and being true to your partner, then guess what? A lot of that stuff will go by the wayside.
Yeah, I just feel like we humans are one of the few species that really has this level of monogamy attached to it, right? And that I feel by nature people tend to want to drift because their mind sort of loses interest in that thing that they're seeing and exposed to every day. It's like having, you don't want to equate it to something that is, an inanimate object, but you want to take a look at it from the sense of people just sometimes take what's in front of them for granted, and it's sometimes nice to see someone new or experience someone new or have conversation with someone new. It may do something to stimulate the brain, stimulate the mind. And so that speaks to just how people sort of move through their relationships and how much communication do they have with one another when they're feeling these difficult sort of urges, right? How do they then have the conversation with their partner? How do they change like the sort of the relationship experiences? There comes a time when things starts to taper off, and that's when people start having more interest together and doing things together. And you're right, long distance relationships can be complicated, but we know back in the days, right, when relationships seem to have been at its highest, right? Like, so 70% of Black people, 70 to 80% in the 1950s, Black people were married. Today, 70 to 80% of Black women are single. That's significant. But back in those days, men were going off to the military for years, right? So we can say distance can be difficult and all those kind of things, but I think at the end of the day, it's the commitment in mind and body, and which is your heart, to the other individual, in terms of how much you're willing to hold on, and ensuring that there's a plan for a connection at some point, particularly when you love someone. What is the plan? What is the plan for us to be together in the same space? And so that's part of communication. But love is fleeting, and it has its sort of ebb and flows. It goes up and goes down at times, but it should always be there. It can go up, it can go have some highs and some lows, but it should always be there. And as long as it's there, you can kind of make it through. I know how that feels. I've been in that space before. It's not easy, right? It's not easy to trust. So I understand some of the circumstances around it, but my mind, my body, my heart, at that time was unable to trust and forgive in that way. But everyone is different. So,
Somebody put, my mother say, long distance love is for suckers.
oh, geez, Islam. No.
But you know what? You just said a mouthful because once again, like you said right now, is if somebody's married or in committed relationship and back in the days and they went to the military. Right now is, guess what? You're in the military. You out of the country or wherever you may be. And you there. And like I said right now, it's like seen so many different war stories that when they
Right.
used to be overseas, they find a little honey. So the same thing what they doing back home, and it's almost similar to when men go to jail.
Mm,
You leave them out there to fend for themselves. So a lot of that stuff go deeper than the original surface, and like to me, I think that's just a tricky and a real topic that people look at things differently. Everybody look at things differently, and I'm not trying to make it justify. I'm only speaking from my experience, and for most time, I wasn't that person that I am today, and I've grown.
The
You know,
growth, right? The growth.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like I said right
Right.
now, I
We
know.
all grow.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I knew where all that stuff come from.
Yeah,
Um,
it's better to have a stability with one and grow with one and build, financial freedom and wealth together. Have someone that has your back than to try to keep searching for something that may not necessarily be out there. Learn to communicate, learn to love, learn to forgive.
and stop looking for love in all the wrong places.
This
I've
is
been looking
true.
for love in all the wrong places. Jaheim, you know what? Let's take it to another topic. Here it is right now, is a young lady who is like a businesswoman of her own. She got the skincare and candle, you know, like business, and she
Mm-hmm.
got over 240,000 people on IG. You see,
Mm.
so she's an IG influencer. But right now, where she ran into an unfortunate situation. And to me, when you look at it, and right now, when I got the story, and I did a story on there on my YouTube channel, and I was like looking at it and trying to understand it. And right now, it's action. So, did mental health from you got some women right now where it's like if they see another woman that look better than them or got it going on, it's like some type of form of jealousy,
Mm.
envy. And then right now, like you say, sometime, like to me, like from my understanding and according to the story, like she attacked this woman based upon well, she wasn't that friendly. What I'm gonna do is I'm pulling it up right now as we talk about it or whatever, and I'm gonna try to make this brief, and that's gonna end it. Inglewood resident rearrested after stabbing and partially blinding a Edgewood Water woman, 32. Kristen Bell, 36, remained held in the Bergen County Jail on Monday, September 26th, after authority upgraded charges against her to second-degree aggravated assault. Inglewood Police Lieutenant Fred Police say the 32-year-old woman, okay, who identified as being protected by the news, lives in Edgewater, but sometimes stay with her sister in Inglewood. The lieutenant said the woman told Daily Voice that she was attacked by Bell and her 14-year-old son outside of 1 William Street apartment complex in broad daylight last Friday. The woman says she doesn't know either of them nor what they have against her and claimed that they have been harassing her for a month and a half. Police say Bell allegedly felt disrespected because the victim wasn't friendly enough to her. She used a hair comb to stab the woman. He said the victim says she believed it was an ice pick. The woman actually had tangled earlier that day, according to her mother. The victim had gotten the best of that clash and went on with her day. Her mom say she apparently found Bell waiting for her when she returned. Her mother say Bell had her son and young daughter with her. She said, "What's up now?" She said to my daughter. She stabbed her 3 times in the eyes, hand in head, the mother wrote. Bell initially fled after the assault, but then surrendered to the authority, according to police. The police lieutenant said a judge in Hackensack released her the following day with condition. The victim refused treatment at the scene. I brought myself to the hospital because I was still in a state of shock, she told. But these injuries were definitely not minor. They seized Bell on Sunday and sent her back to jail. In addition to the upgrading the original aggravated assault count, detective charged Bell with endangering her 2 children, who police say was with her at the time of the stabbing. The victim mom, meanwhile, is seeking help with the expense her daughter faces. As per the eye surgeon, she would need extensive aftercare, which includes several eye surgery, therapy, nurse's aid, and counseling to deal with the fact that she will not be who we all know her to be. She wrote on the GoFund campaign. So basically, right now is like sit back and think about that. Like this young lady, okay, 32 years old. Right now is I went to her page and I got the link up. IG. Check her out. She got over 240,000 people on IG. And right now, young lady about it, was trying to do something with her life. So what would cause somebody you went after her because you didn't like her or she wasn't nice to you? I'm confused about that. And right now, what gave her the right, like to me, sometime when you sit back and you think about it, mental health, okay? Or one time was she with a guy that she liked, and right now where's this girl walk by and the guy that you with looking at her, eyeing her up and down? I don't know. But once again, what causes attack? This woman, brutalized her, stabbing her eye 3 times. I'm talking about right now, her life that she know would never be the same.
The level of self-hate the perpetrator had for herself is unimaginable. And the fact that she used that self-hate to inflict harm on this young lady, regardless of what the issue was, is, or may be, is devastating. I mean, this is again one of these stories that I cannot even believe that this is happening in our community or any community. Um, there was a level of anger there that we can't even imagine. This young lady needed help. Maybe she was, diagnosed with something at some point, some kind of anger issue. Again, we can't say that she was functioning in a normal brain, in her normal mind. There had to be some kind of brain difference, something that was going on that we just don't fully understand. And this woman put her over the edge. So she already had the capacity to do something like this. And this woman just presented the opportunity. It is something that is hard to fully understand. And they're right, she's going to need a lot of help, the victim. And again, like we were saying, the cost of medical care, and this is why her family is seeking, support. It's going to take maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars to do reconstruction and get the kind of treatment that she needs to kind of feel whole again. It's very, very sad. I pray for her family. This young lady, I don't think prison will do anything for her, although that will probably be the first step, or the first before she gets the treatment that she needs. And hopefully, when she goes into prison, they will provide her with some level of treatment, because she has a serious anger issue. And this woman just was right there and just there. She was a victim. It was the opportunity, it was right, and it was something that was building up in her for a very long time. Could it have been jealousy? Could it have been envy? Could it have been all those things? Yeah. Jealousy is one of those 7 deadly sins, and many people have it at different points in their life for whatever reason. But to go out and start stabbing someone in their eye and abusing them and almost killing them, that's a whole different story. That's beyond jealousy. That's hate.
And like I said right now, is let me see what Renee had to say to this. As a woman, you got to know your worth, and every woman has her own talent and skill. And according to this story, sound like that person got some mental health issue.
Yeah, I agree with you, Renee. And I'm very cautious to blame everything on mental illness, because my thing is, does the person have the capacity to know right or wrong? There's many people who have mental illness, but they have the capacity to still know right from wrong. So was this more of a premeditated, sort of opportunistic crime? What was behind it? We would need to know a lot more, but I'm sure she will try to lean on mental illness, but I'm not sure. It seems like there was a lot more behind that. Can you say that there was something going on in her brain or in her mind that was different from most people? Yes, because most people would not have handled the situation in that way. Thank God. But this is serious, and we really need to get to the bottom of this as a society to find out why anyone would attack someone with that level of anger and depravity, and it's just plain despicable.
Yeah. Like I said, right now we got to pray. You know what I'm saying? Pray for her that she have a speedy recovery. You know, right now is, man. And like I told you right now, I always try to tell people no prayer, no power, less prayer, less power, more prayer, more power, much prayer, much power. And like I said right now is, man, we need all the prayer that we can get during this period of time. You know, but like I said right now is everybody, I want to thank you for
Yeah.
joining us. And as I said right now is hit the like button, subscribe,
Yeah.
share. If you like what me and Dr. Elisa is saying, you know, share it with people in your platform, share it with people on Instagram, on Messenger, on in your email, on your phone contact. Because once again, that's what it takes for us to spread the word and let everybody know that once a week that me and Dr. Elisa will be, you know, like I say, within an hour, 56 hours of our time, we taking, you know, an hour or more out of those 56 hours.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And we're sharing. We're sharing wisdom. We're sharing information. We're raising awareness. So, and someone mentioned something about Puerto Rico. Shout out to it's Hispanic Heritage Month. So, just want to give everyone a shout out. Starts like this month. Yeah, October.
Mhm. But
Yeah.
like I say, you don't know what, you know, right now is I get plenty of feedback as yo, man, I like what y'all talk about. I like what y'all bring to the table. I like the energy. And that's what it's all about. Like right now is we're not sitting here trying to offend, not trying to pass judgment. What we trying to do is right now have a clean cut positive platform. No yelling, no screaming, no cursing, no being disrespectful. It's not about that. It's about how do we add value? How do we add value to this platform? You know,
Hmm.
say what I want this to be the Predator and the Prey podcast, the People podcast. Like,
Right.
how do me and Dr. Lisa come from two totally different walk of life? But how can we join forces and express ourselves and speak out different things? You know, here coming from me, coming from a man perspective and coming from a woman perspective.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And congratulations. I've seen how many, interviews you've done lately. You've been really busy on YouTube sharing all the information with people. So shout
And,
outs to you. I miss you during the week. I'm like, oh, my Brian Glaze Gibbs. He's out there with everyone else. He's cheating on me.
hey,
Um, He's
you know
cheating
what?
on me.
You know what? And like I said right now, I got that, like, to me, based upon like a lot of things that's going on, whereas like, you know, to me, like people reaching out, let's try this, let's try that, or whatever. And to me, like I said right now, if I got the time, like now you see, you sit back and think about it. Like you said, I'm cheating, but that's coming out of my 56 hours. So, if I only got 56 hours,
Your
if I
wife
only got
needs
56
another
hours,
six, those part of those 56 hours
yeah,
too.
that's part of my 56 hours. Now, if I only got 56 hours, I'm doing an hour over here, an hour over
And
there.
that's why you're tired when you get to me. Is that what you're saying? That's why you're tired when you come on this. You're tired. Like I don't want no lazy tired co-host.
Hey,
That's what
let me show
happens when
you.
you spread yourself too thin.
No, but you know what? Katik introduced me to this brother, changing the narrative. Young brother out there in Vegas put together this program or whatever. And right now it's like, you know, a lot of times people want to come on, want you to do an interview or want to try to you to help them to give them some type of form of exposure. And I don't mind doing it, but it got to be positive and powerful. As long as it's powerful and positive and powerful, I'm with it. But you
Yeah, that
can't
was a
just,
good interview. I seen that the young guy is doing a really good work, and
yeah.
I
And
thought your question around expansion was good too. Like, how do
yeah.
you see yourself growing or moving this in different communities? Because they can use that in every city in New York, right?
Yeah. And those are things that you sit
Every
back and
city in
think about.
America.
Because
Mhm.
some people come to me and like, well, I want you to do this and that and all this. And I'm trying to see why. Do it add value, take value away? I had one young gentleman, like, and like I say, shout out to Critique, because once again, like I said right now, where it's like if he can help, he's gonna help. But once
Yeah.
again, like if I'm listening to
Shout out to
somebody
critique.
and
We love
they
critique.
can't convince me of why, I only got 56 hours according to you a week. So
I mean, you really don't. You help me to actually think about it a bit more. You only have about 40 once you control for travel and, getting and prep and eating and all that. Yeah, you may only have 30.
yeah.
So when you're
So
giving to YouTube, you're giving a lot of time and, hopefully people appreciate, the conversations.
yeah, we'll see. But like I told you right now is everybody, thank y'all for joining.
Thank you,
Tune in next week.
Renee. Thank you, Islam.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining. Tune in next week. And like I said, right now we can do it again. And even right now, folks, if y'all have any interesting topic, or even right now, y'all want to talk about, y'all want to be part of the program or whatever, send us an email. Contact us. What's the email address?
predatorandprey@gmail.com.
Okay,
Predator
see,
and Prey.
see, I'm glad. Look, Predator, Predator, A-A-A-N-A-A-N-D.
A&D, yep. And
Okay,
Prey. Predator and Prey at Gmail.
okay, see. Okay, predator and prey at gmail.com. So right now, anybody that if y'all have anything that's out there that y'all, like right now, we feel is worthwhile. Kevin Mack, how you doing, man? Thank you for typing in. Eagle Republic. Anything right now is you send it by us. You send it to us, like right now is guess what? We got Micaiah. Shout out to Micaiah. We don't give her the gorgeous geek. We don't give her enough credit, but
Absolutely.
she the one that keep me and Looney Tune in line. I'm not gonna say who's Looney and who's
Someone
Tune.
needs to do it.
Same period. So and like I said right now is we just trying to make sure we have a powerful,
Our little
positive,
team.
I'm saying right now platform.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And we have a
So,
strong team and everyone is there and so much of support to us. And so yeah, we love them all and thank you so much. Couldn't do any of this without them. So yeah. I thought there was some person that mentioned that someone shot a music video in Miami in the storm. I think that was John Rambo. He said someone shot a music video in Miami. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Too much is going on. Okay.
you're right.
Yeah. Shot a music video in the hurricane. This is like, yeah. God forbid. Yeah.
Shot a music video in a hurricane. Everybody trying to go viral.
That's what I was about to say, but I was like,
they'll risk their life to go viral.
yeah, they're gonna risk their life to go viral. Yeah. That's
Hey,
it.
my man, what he say? Hey, my man said right now, Bizzle. He say, shout out Uncle BGG and a good doctor.
Oh, thank you.
But I'm confused. How he know that you're the good doctor? How he know you ain't a bad doctor? He said the good doctor. I'm confused.
Oh gosh, he can feel the energy.
T River, what's up? The Beauty and the Beast.
Hey, T Rivers, how
hey,
are
bro,
you?
I don't get down like that.
What? Who?
Oh, I gotta raise this guy. This guy, man. Come on, man.
What did he? Oh my God! Did he say? Who says that? That is not even cute. That wasn't. We won't repeat that.
No, but that's what I'm saying. The black. Hey, look. They need to hire Glaze as security for the celebrity. Okay, T Rivers. John Rambo, the black youth urgently need change somehow. Okay, we know that. Okay. All due respect, the energy of people that don't have is talking about what they want. Wow. It's taking all due respect, the energy of people that don't have is taking what they want. All right. So, like I said right now, we got a new comment, but we're gonna go ahead and end this.
Yeah.
Let me see what we got at the end. He say, look, get married.
Islam, we're praying for you. If you're not married already, we're praying that you find that special someone.
And like I say, folks, listen, if y'all have any suggestion, any ideals, any topic, right now that's the email, predatorandprey@gmail.com. And like I tell you right now is hit the like button, subscribe, share. Right now, send it to people that's in your contact. Send it to people that's on your email. Send it on IG, Messenger, DM. It's there. We truly, truly appreciate it. So right now, once again, I'm about to take me a shower, get ready for bed.
Yes.
And take advantage of some of my 56 hours.
No, that's actually part of your 8, your 16. The sleep and getting prep. Yeah, that's part of your 56. But
Yeah,
once you fall asleep, that's part of your 8.
all right, so that's the difference. But
Okay.
everybody, are ready? Now it's time to say goodbye to all our lovely friends. MIC, see you next week. KEY, why? Because we love you. MOUSE, Mickey Mouse, Dr. Lisa. Good night, y'all. Good night.
Good
All
night.
right.
Good night.